You excited for some Dark Clem?
Yeah, reasonably. Dark's been beating him though.
Yeah, he's
the
been
last few times
smashing
we
him.
played.
Yeah.
Well,
It feels like
yeah.
Dark's just like, oh, I want to attack now, and Clem's like, oh, and then Clem just like runs into trouble, like he can't quite hold it off.
Yeah.
It's been yeah, the last few times he's like 0-5 in the last 2 series, right? So it's pretty rough.
Yeah. All right. You want to do the introductions, Wardy?
I do,
In the
which probably
bottom
means
right,
that you're gonna do that.
spawning
I was already
as you
saying
bet.
it. Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh no, you go.
In the bottom right spawn against the red Terran, it's Clem. Fast.
Yeah, well, you have to be fast, otherwise the freaking game just goes to the other one.
At the top left is Dark. Oh, too slow, but it's what it is. Yeah, it's very tricky. Oh wait, do they have sound again?
Yeah, they forgot to turn the music off again. I'll tell them.
Yeah, okay. Tell me when they fixed it. I'll mute it for now. It's really a wild production value that we have over here. I'm
it's
a big
fixed,
fan of it though. It's fixed?
See how much power I have? I literally start typing to them and I'm like, oh shit, what is typing? Fix it.
Yeah. That's very nice. All right. What are we thinking here on Berlingrad? This has to be the Clem pick, right?
Yep, I would imagine this has to be the Clem pick. It's a pretty decent Terran map. Size is short, right? You can get some good tank positions. You can get across the map quickly. I think those are all pretty important features of it.
Yeah, I agree. It's yeah, I like this one a lot for Terran. Do you think Clem he's gonna play 2 gas though on a map like this? No, it's too small to really go for the triple CC. He's probably deadly afraid of any type of roach all in as well. It also seems that recently Dark has been playing less roaches and more Ling Bane, and his results have really improved a lot. Like, by a lot.
It's funny how that
Did you read
works.
the interview with Maru
Which one?
or watch it? Maru had an interview with Crank.
Oh yeah. I
And
watched a
Maru
little bit.
said, yeah, Maru said, yeah, I prefer playing against Dark because he keeps building roaches, even though if he plays Ling Bane, he's really difficult to beat. But for some reason, he always goes into roaches, and then it's very playable. He said something, I'm paraphrasing, but
Yep.
that's basically what he said. And literally since that point, Dark has been playing a lot of Ling Bane, and he's performing really well, like extremely well. And I'm like, huh. All he really needed was Maru to tell him to start playing Ling Bane, and he does it. Probably already had a feeling, you know, but sometimes it is just as easy as someone else telling you that the style you're playing sucks, and that they much prefer playing against your style than against other people's style. And as I say that, he opens up with a Roach Warren, but this is more for a Roach all-in or a Roach timing than it is really for well, it's most likely still going to go into Roaches eventually, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those roach runs which is just super early though. Like you're definitely gonna put some amount of pressure on. Usually Dark drops to like at 3:30 to 4 minutes, and that's kind of like, oh, I'm gonna build a few safety roaches. I'll be okay against your attacks, and then I play my roach game. Yes, he'll probably play a roach game after this, but he should absolutely be looking to put on a little bit more pressure right away. You can see he's got the gas banked up to build a bunch of roaches all at once, so that's going to be a factor. And Clem will have to play defensively here, but he is opening double gas, so that's a good start. Big question is what he does off the starport. Clem has been playing some Banshee builds again recently, and if he builds a Banshee here, that's obviously going to set him up very well for the start of this, and it looks like that starport does float over to the tech lab. Banshee on the way, so that's pretty much the best start you can have as Clem. Still need to have that Banshee in the right position when the roaches arrive, or catch the roaches coming across the map, but it gives him the setup to defend this.
Yeah, it's important that he sees some of these roaches at least as they start moving out, and that's exactly what's happening here. He can start a bunker immediately at home, which is what he does as well, and I think he wants to hold the low ground. Once again, I think the correct call, as the roach count isn't very large, there's no Ling follow-up. He might lose a couple of these depots though, and that's going to be painful, but I mean, if you're going to be even in workers against a Zerg and you still have the ability to do counter damage with these Cloak Banshees, then majority of the time you're going to be a happy Terran player.
Yep, absolutely. He's got a bunker up here to buy some time as well. If you can keep the Hellions alive, even better, because then they can also help to counter. They can help to force more units and make sure there's roaches in position. As you just see, got 5 SEVs. He's just going to lose a fresh mule as well, though. I think that's pretty expensive towards the end there, but you can kind of drone up from this, and like I say, obviously those Banshees are like you said, right? The Banshees can go across the map and harass a little bit, take over for a minute while I answer the domain.
I did not like that end very much, I have to admit. If he doesn't lose these 5 workers, he's probably fine, but now it still feels like he needs to actually do something in the counter-attack, and before, I don't think he really needed to. One of the big downsides, by the way, of playing these roach openers isn't necessarily always the fact that you're going to be low in drones, but it's also that your queen count is a lot lower, because usually you'll be spending your money in drones and queens. Now it was just mainly roaches, so your queen count is also a lot less than it usually is. While he was pushing, he was only on 3 or 4 queens. Now he's trying to add a couple more, so often the counter attack also is difficult to hold. Banshees are out on the map and the layer is about 30-40 seconds away from finishing up. Dark's getting 6 overlords at the same time.
That's a lot.
Is he gonna build some random roaches, or is he just making mistakes?
I think it's just making a mistake, right? Like, even if he makes roaches, he doesn't need 6 overlords of roaches, surely. As Clem walks into a swirl, cloaking up doesn't help against that. Yeah, no, it's kind of weird. He goes super far in supply, like 87 out of 130, and that's definitely not something that Dark would usually do. So that's a little bit of a weird one to see. Because now he loses out on a queen, so the Banshee harass working out so far.
Yeah. We also see Clem following this up with a tank, and that's obviously gonna be the correct call against what Dark has planned. And it seems to be a bit of a 1-1 push here. Could still be going into that cave bob style, going into the fast Hydra Dam with infestation pit, and then just trying to rush out to lurkers. I wouldn't mind though if he starts this with a bit of a 1-1 attack. And more like how Rogue usually gets into these games, by being very aggressive and then failing to kill the opponent and then building some lurkers and trying to win the game from there. Well, Dark actually is just going to throw down the infestation pit. And the Hydra then should also come quickly then.
Yep.
And rush into Hive is imminent.
Yep, just going to rush up into lurkers essentially. Yeah, I don't disagree. I kind of like the idea of maybe going into 1-1 roaches but and hitting that 1-1 timing a bit, but maybe he really just says, look, you did defend my first set of roaches well. You've still got some Banshees on the map. Maybe he just doesn't feel like it's worth it versus just tacking up and playing a longer game.
Yeah, fair play. He's the one in the driver's seat. He gets to make the decisions. All we can do is talk about it. There's a mine here with this little push out as well. There's a single tank. These Marines don't have combat shields or any upgrades, but the roaches don't have a roach speed. This is a lot of damage output here for Clem. These Banshees are helping out for sure as well. That tank is in a... It looked to be in a bad position, but I think it's actually getting the maximum damage output that it probably could have this fight. A couple of these queens are going to fall. If the Banshees stay alive, that could be huge.
Yep, just being able to kind of extend this fight, Clem, and really, again, that one tank really did just get a lot of shots off. It was funny, right? It really felt like it was really far away, but it was really, really influential. Just softening up a lot of those roaches. Now we have Clem with a few units still left back here. Upgrades are going to be finishing on either side very soon. As Dark obviously continues to take steps towards his lurker den being finished and being able to get those lurkers on the map. There's a few more Marines coming forward, looking for an overlord, not quite going to get it. Medevac's just going to lift those units up and pull them away.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure how good this is for Clem though, because it felt like he really had a lot banking on that push, and he did lose some high value units, including the Banshees, which not only allow you to obviously deal damage to roaches when they're attacking you, but also can allow you to deny creep tumors on the sides, maybe even go into the forward base later on, pick off a couple of drones. So it's always extremely nice against this type of composition with very late proper anti-air that isn't queens to lose these Banshees. So yeah, I'm a little bit upset by that as a regular Clem enjoyer. These Marines are going to trade well against the Lynx, obviously, as there's no real upgrades for these Lynx except the +1 carapace. And also the Marine numbers are just a little bit too large. Reaper might be capable of getting a kill, but I don't think that will be too influential. Dark is defending well. He is on 70 workers. We have a double factory for Clem. He's also working off double tech lab, so mixing in some early Marauders. And I'm wondering if he's planning on doing a 2-2 push, or if he thinks he can't make it anymore. What do you think? Do you think it's still possible to go with Hive already done, adaptive talents on the way, or is it a thing of the past?
I don't think so, unless he has a lot of tanks. I mean, he's got, what, about 4 right now? Is that all of them? I feel like if he has like 6 to 8 tanks right here, I'm like, okay, well, you get across the map, and I guess maybe you'll have 6 to 8 tanks by the time 2-2 is done. I guess Viper's out as well. I think it's too far gone. I think, like, initially, if you're fighting when the Lurkers are first coming up and there's no Vipers ready or anything, then I think you can actually still go for it. But with Vipers being up as well, it just doesn't seem like it makes sense. It feels like it's way too committed for, you know, for just being easily cleaned up. A couple of good spellcasts and you're basically in trouble. Clem's going to keep pushing up here anyway. We'll see how hard he wants to commit into this. Obviously still, for now, way off 2-2 upgrades. Oh, massive fungal though.
Yeah, we also have a drop into the natural. I'm not quite sure what's happening there. I think Dark might be in position with a couple of roaches though. As this army gets cleaned up, these tanks are going to fall most likely as well. That's pretty painful, getting your tank count reset like this just before the lurkers come out. Here's the drop I was mentioning earlier, and it's going to target down an extractor and through 2 drones, and then most likely we'll have to pick up. I don't think this is quite what Clem wanted.
Yeah, this really went wrong. I mean, having your tank count reset, you just said, it's painful, because now you've got to really rebuild those tanks. They're meant to be the bridge for you to get ghosts out, right? Like, they can hold off the lurkers, then the ghost count gets up, and then you're comfortable. But now that bridge is kind of gone, it's a lot weaker, so he might just be more easily broken, and some of these pushes and positions he's taken will not be as meaningful. Dark has a ton of army supply as well, because he's got such a low drone count, actually. So, if that is obviously good right now, but in a longer game, if Clem does back up and just let this kind of continue, maybe that's an advantage Clem can kind of take back. The fact he is mining a lot more than Dark, and Dark is never going to have a super big bank behind these attacks.
Yeah, that is kind of nice here for Clem, but he's still lacking the extra orbital commands. I'm not so worried about the economic situation for Clem. I'm more worried about when Dark decides to move across the map and take the fight to Clem for the first time. This is going to be the biggest point of concern for Clem, I think, where there's going to be Vipers, there's going to be really sick upgrades on these lurkers. The lurker count is going to be big, and we really don't have that many tanks. Like, it's not like 2 factories have been pumping tanks non-stop. No, it's been very slow. And now Dark starts moving across the map as Clem has no units really on his side of the map. And Dark says, I'm just going to run in, burrow some lurkers, and good luck, my friend. Do you even have enough scans? Do you have enough defense here? And I think the answer for now is going to be no.
Yeah, absolutely not. Clem just going to type out GG as, yeah, he really just does not have an answer to that at all. And again, just a lot of the losses early in the game kind of building up to that moment. If Clem could have drawn it out, maybe there was some potential, but he wasn't able to draw it out, and hence 1-0 to Dark. The micro-wise than Dark, but it's also easier to kind of say that about a Terran than it is a Zerg, right?
Yeah, because Zergs don't really micro their units anyway, so it doesn't matter. It's also irrelevant for most Zerg players, whether they have high micro or not. I mean, whether you're moving roaches twice a second or 3 times a second, and you're going to be doing the same amount of damage output. Actually, if they would be playing Age of Empires 4, it would be better to only move them once, otherwise the animations keep getting cancelled.
Oh, is that a thing in here?
I don't know, I haven't played the game. Just know people complain about it a lot.
Okay. I'm in the same boat.
Yeah.
Alright, game number 2, as we load on up, as we have Clem in the top right and Dark in the bottom left of Hardwire for map number 2. They've been really bad at turning the music off today, haven't they?
Yeah, message him again. Tell him.
I'll start right now.
Oh.
Right now.
I really like watching the camps as well. Clem really does look like he just woke up. He's wearing one of them tie-dye hoodies from Team Liquid. Beautiful hoodie. Can get it in the Team Liquid .gg store, of course.
Yeah.
You can get it as a Christmas gift for your significant other, or for yourself, or for your parents. It's also possible.
Anybody,
Loads
really.
of options there, Wardy. So how smooth I brought that up. Now, what's also smooth here in this game is the opener of Dark. It's opening up with a hatch first on the natural. Map's going to be Hardwire. It's a bit of a suspicious first 2 maps, isn't it, here?
Suspicious? You think it's not the obvious choices?
I don't know. I don't know how to judge Hardwire in this matchup.
So, I've been in a few minds about Hardwire, because at first, the first time I talked about Hardwire with anyone, it was with Raynor, and he told me he cannot possibly ever imagine playing versus Terran on this map. But then I realized this map's actually kind of big, and there's a good amount of bases, but obviously, I feel like there's a lot of chokes, a lot of pushing points for Terran. I feel like it is kind of 50-50. And maybe in like a long game, it's a bit better for Zerg, because there are just a lot of bases on the bottom side of the map, but then it's also very hard to run in and kill the Terran player because it's choked up, so they can just get their bases eventually too. So, yeah, I'm not sure. I'll be 1 second, sorry.
That's okay. Now, the problem that I have with this map is that whenever I watch the really super late games, is that the Terrans actually tend to win because it's difficult for Zerg to take a base of their opponent, and it's easy for Terran to take all of their own bases. I mean, Clem might be struggling with, I guess, what could be considered the 9:30 o'clock. The base a little bit above the 9. There's no real 9 o'clock base on this map. It's the 9:30 and the 8:30. Then perfectly at 9, there's nothing there. So like the 9:30 base can be difficult, especially against good lurker setups. Dude, how many links did this guy build? Is that 6 again? He only just built 6 links. Doesn't lose any, so it's a good start. This time it's going to be triple CC though for good old Clem. Let's see. No, they still haven't turned off the music.
It would be really nice if they turned off the music.
Sorry?
It'd be really nice if they turned off the music.
Yeah, I can't listen to it. It's too annoying. No game sounds. It is what it is, Wardy.
You know what else is annoying? When 3 different
No.
postmen come at 3 different points within 20 minutes of each other.
Yeah,
They should organize that better.
Yeah, this system is broken, I think, with all these solo companies with your UPSs. Do you guys also have DHL?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's awful. DHL. You know, they once stole my... Okay, this is a story, my friend. So, the first time we went into, like, semi-lockdown or something, whatever you call it, like, they took out the hairdressers as well, you know? They didn't quite realize how essential hairdressers were to daily life.
Yeah.
And they took out the hairdressers. And I ordered one of these things to shave the head with. A buzzer. What do you call them?
A shaver. Razor. Shaver.
Shaver, yeah, sure. Yeah, like the one of the zzz, you know, the ones they actually have at the hairdresser. It was a nice one that I bought as well. All of them were sold out except this one. It was like the last one that got rated very high in the yearly buzzer ratings. And I ordered it. I did my research, my friend. This one had like 4.8 stars or so, and it was the recommended purchase. I was like, all right, let's get it. So I bought that, and then the day it arrives, Irene tells me like, hey, because you're gonna buzz it off anyway, how about I first give you a haircut for banter? I was like, yeah, sure, that sounds fine.
Music's
Like,
gone,
I can't.
Music's gone. Just as
Oh, the music, okay, nice. And so I thought, yeah, sounds like a good idea. So she starts cutting my hair, and Irene is not a hairdresser, so it looks absolutely terrible. She starts cutting my hair, and we're done. And the time where the DHL man is supposed to arrive with my buzzer comes by, and I get an email from them that my package has just been delivered. And I'm like, well, my package has absolutely not been delivered. And I'm stuck here with my crap haircut. So I call the DHL. I'm like, well, you know, with one day with crappy hair, that's no problem. I mean, that has happened before in my life. But all of them are sold out at this point, and the DHL guy pretends that we even signed for it. One of my roommates also lost her ukulele that was supposed to be delivered on that day. So this guy just took my clippers and a ukulele and ran off with it. And ever since then, whenever I see DHL on a package, I just don't want to get it anymore because I had to live with my crappy hair until I just let it grow out as well because I gave up on getting new buzzers. I think I did end up getting my money back. But they still said that they didn't take it. They said they'll give the money back, but they weren't happy with it, you know? I had to complain a lot and even threaten with making a police report. And so this is a good run by the way, for Clem. Takes out a lot of the links. Also gets 5, well, like crap ton of drones actually. 9 drones.
And he's got a BC that just finished, so some of these low HP drones are going to be super easy targets for the BC, which is very unlike Clem to play a battlecruiser opening as well. I don't know the last time I saw Clem play a BC opening. Yet just goes to the 3rd with the BC, gets a queen, gets a drone. Takes a lot of damage, to be honest, though, so that is going to be turned around, but obviously that can come back again a bit further down the line, of course.
Yeah, you had the tone in your voice that made it sound like this was really good, but he really just took like 500 damage on the BC and killed a queen and a drone. Maybe damaged an extractor. Like that was not the BC that we were promised to have.
I totally believed in the BC until it really kind of started leaving. I was like, oh, you took way more damage than I thought you did.
Yeah, it's actually Clem's gonna end up losing a lot of workers here as well. A lot, 3 workers. Some of these mules not working for some time as well. And these boys work hard. So if they're not on the job, it means you're gonna get a lot less income. There's 70 workers for Dark right now. Who's playing that Ling Bane style? It's getting a couple of macro hatches. Do I count 2 macro hatches there in the main base?
I think so, from what I can see on the minimap. That's kind of a bit crazy. I guess his 4th is late than he would like, maybe, but he's building 4 hatcheries at once right now. Okay, talk. Whatever. If you want to do that, you do that, but that doesn't feel like it's the norm at all. And I feel like his supply, you can already see, is kind of suffering a bit from that, but Obviously, it'll help him out later in the game. So let's see.
Yeah, Dark also has a really cool approach to macro hatches because he tends to just stop injecting and just uses the larva that the hatchery produces instead. So it's, yeah, I'm not quite sure if that is cool or weird, but I kind of like the thought of just focusing on things that he finds more important rather than macroing and injecting.
Definitely a different approach, right? That's
Yeah.
kind of cool that we can have different approaches like that as these Marines. They fight for a moment and Clem lifts up, doesn't lose one. So just fighting a few of those Zerglings and now lifting up, moving around a little bit and going a few different places as we jump over to the other side. And for now, the Marines will continue to move around, have a bit of fun.
You think we're going to see like a 2-2 push here for Dark? Is that going to be a possibility? He's been doing it a bit in the past. There's no infestation pit yet either, so it is a possibility that he just decides that he's had it and he's going to move across the map. He's building a crap ton of links of 74 workers, 3 more overlords on the way as well. There's still a lot of money in the bank. Now starts injecting some of these hatcheries. 54 links on the way, Wardy. Starts taking out these rocks. I think he's pushing. He's going to do a 2-2 push. He did this last time in WTL and absolutely blasted Clem on glittering ashes. I think he's going to try it again.
Yep, absolutely. He's just going to lift up these few Marines, Clem, and he needs to be ready for this. I mean, surely he sees that there's just a lot of Lings, a lot of Banes. He's got to be somewhat cautious of it. The BC here will put out some additional damage as 20 Banelings morph in. Clem is now dropping into a few Banelings as well. If you're getting like 1 Marine for Baneling, that's obviously not bad. It does now take away the drop, so we'll have to focus on this defense as Widow Mines are coming through, but I'd love to see just what exactly Clem has defensively right now, because yeah, I'm a little bit concerned. This BC's going to fly into a bunch of Queens again. That's not going to be all too useful, and Dark is prepping to just run into the upper right-hand side.
Yeah. Here comes Dark with the Ling Bane moving forward. How many Banes is there? I wish we knew. It's going to be about 35 or 40. 4 more are being produced. Infestation pit on the back of this, but this is the fight that could decide the end of the game. Oi, oi, oi.
Yeah, those mines on the natural actually just blew up like 10, 15 Marines, I think. That probably means you don't hold this at all, and that's just going to be way too much. GG from Clem looks very frustrated on the camera as he taps out. And that's going to be Dark up to a 2-0 lead. Wow, Dark really just has Clem's number at the moment, or Clem's in his own head. I'm very mentally strong to have only lost for 10 years and still be playing StarCraft 2 professionally.
That's so good.
So yeah, it definitely seems to be a character in this scene.
Yeah, he's quite something. There's a lot of the Chinese players that play with the XY fans clan.
Yeah.
That's great. I like that a lot.
I mean, there's a load of memes in the Chinese scene that we just never get to see. It's kind of wild, and they have all these nicknames for players as well and stuff that you just never hear about.
Yeah. Whenever when Innovation played in China, they started playing like his anime song.
Yeah.
Like, and this entire stadium was singing along with this anime song that's specifically for Innovation. There's me and 3 other Europeans. Oh, what the hell are these guys on? It's so sick. I can't remember, who was he playing in the finals? WSG 2019, I think. Yeah, was it Cyril? He'll start singing this anime song like after the second game. That is unbelievable. That's so sick.
Honestly, this is like the character that most StarCraft tournaments need to get. But I don't know how we get that, but we need it.
Well, not if it's anime songs. I
mean, no. We can do better.
Yeah.
We can do better than that. I mean, why don't you should get on stage and just perform and introduce someone. You could be like Lambo's official intro, man.
Yeah, it would be sick, honestly. The Chinese crowds are also quite fun. Like, they're very into it. I'm a huge fan of that. Huge fan. All right, what do we have here? We have Blackburn. And you know what I always like is when these Zergs, they still pretend that Clem sometimes 2-racks us. And they always send their overlords around the maps. Like, the last time Clem 2-racks was in Wings of Liberty. It's like he doesn't even know the build order anymore. He actually never plays it, and here we have Dark sending his first overlord to the right side, spotting for barracks. I'm not quite sure if that is silly or if it's still cool to do. I mean, you can't...
Is it not the mega respect, just in case at one point Clem's just like, you know what, let's do it, and then you're still scouting for it?
Yeah, I don't know. I just fly my overlord across the map. I guess you don't lose too much by not doing it, so it doesn't really matter. But you might as well. But it's effort that you don't need to do, you know?
Yeah.
It's like being a Terran and playing against Bly, and then scouting his natural hatchery. Like, you know it's not gonna be there. It's gonna be on your own third base. But yet these guys pretend like it's a normal game. It's similar here. It's like this is not a normal game. You don't need to do that.
Mm-hmm. I also find it funny when someone doesn't scout against Bly, and I'm like, well, you're either assuming that he's not doing it, or you're just assuming that you're doing it, or you're just really silly. And a surprising amount of the time, people are really silly, and they just pretend Bly's gonna play a normal game, and then roaches walk into their base. And I'm like, really? We didn't know that? It's like, I knew that, and I'm just a caster.
You're just a
So
guy, but you do watch probably more Bly games than the average pro gamer. I have to admit.
I feel like you don't have to watch that many to get the general gist of it, right? Like,
Nah, that's true. Bly also has a lot of different proxy hatches, though. I once saw him play against Bian in a best of 3, and he played proxy hatch every single game, but it was a different type of proxy hatch every single game.
I remember that.
That's what really gets you.
That wasn't that long ago, like 6 months ago, maybe.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
5-6 months. You recall the series as well.
Yeah, I remember it, and I don't know, did Bly win? I think Bly won as well.
I think he might have. I can't remember. That I can't remember. Just remember they did.
We need to get
multiple
Rotterdam in here. He tells us exactly, how long each game was and everything. So
yeah.
map order, where the
Funky
proxy
move out
was.
that was done, or like an anecdote connected to the game. Rotti's mind is really sick when it comes to that. It reminds me of a game from 2009, which was played at the Code 5 WCG Super Series, which was a tournament that was only held once, and actually people thought it would be in Moscow, but it was this tiny town, 3 kilometers. And I remember that long road down. It goes into like an anecdote of some Russian friend that he met in 2004 in a bar in China or something, and then like by the end of the story you don't even know what it's about anymore. You're just glad you went on the journey. It's like it's really wild when it comes to roach. It's going to be a Hellbat push, and Dark is preemptively building roaches. I'm not sure if this was for a roach all-in or if he just wanted to defend. I don't think this Hellbat push is going to be extremely successful, as these Marines are just kind of Kerrigan behind over here.
Yeah, it feels like this just feels like one where it's maybe like you pick up some Hellions into the main base and you try and morph those into Hellbats, but otherwise you just kind of give up on it a little bit, I think.
Did force out a lot of units though, already. It's a lot of roaches on the map.
There's a lot of roaches that can also come across the map, right?
Yeah, it is scary. I'm not even sure if you want to build a bunker at this point still. Probably do need it if Dark goes across the map. Clem says, no, I don't need it. I'm just going to counterattack instead, and that's my way to keep these roaches back. But you can only pull this move once. These Hellions, if they get some damage though, that could be good, because there's not that many drones already. They're not really getting the damage like they did in the games before. It's going to get 4 workers, loses 8 Hellions. I'm not great at math, Wardy, but that's not a good trade.
No, that's not a good trade. You're not wrong, mate. Your math is correct, whether it's bad or not. So, no, not a good trade, and gonna just be seeing Dark probably in a pretty good spot because he can run these roaches across the map and kind of check what Clem has, and if Clem doesn't have a lot, then he's in trouble, and yeah, it's just not pretty, is it?
Yeah, and if he does have a lot, you pause the game, you call him out for cheating, because there's no way with this build order that he has more than 4 Marines at this point. You build freaking 8 cars, there's a tank. Is it out already? I think there's 1 tank. That's gonna save him for now. Actually, this defense was pretty decent. We see 3 more Ravagers on the way. And then with the Overlord, he's gonna get high ground vision, so perhaps he will be capable of taking out the wall at least. Maybe he wants to go for a tank snipe as well. Sadly, the Observer is showing us the dead space at this point, but I'm sure at some point we're going to get back. I think he can take out this tank.
Yeah. Well, I actually think so too. You woke up. Maybe it's a bit tough with the orbital there.
Yeah, and with 2 tanks it's going to be harder, because you're just going to take damage so fast. But it's still a fantastic situation here for Dark. He's already taking the 4th base on the gold. 6 more drones on the way, double Evo. He's just up, 30 workers at this point? Yeah, good luck, Clem. Have a good game.
It's kind of sad because I kind of feel like I'm, Clem Dark's the match I really want to get hyped for, but I feel like these last few times I've watched them, like, oh. Now I'm not hyped to see Clem and Dark anymore, almost, because it feels like Dark is just at that point where it's like, oh yeah, foreigner, I just murdered them.
Yeah, that's kind of what it feels like. I'm just going to take out an Overlord and probably start dropping across the map once these first 2 medevacs arrive. This 1 medevac is still alive from the early push. Did manage to preserve that, which is nice. Liberator's still alive as well, and it forces these queens to be busy, but I don't think Dark really minds. It's gonna go up to 8 gas already. Infestation Pit is done, Hydra then on the way. It's gonna go up to 2 Infestors first. Is that like a safety measure, or he's just bantering at this point?
I think he's almost just like, I've got the Infestation Pit, a couple Infestors probably don't hurt. I think it's like one of those things where you can get a lot of value out of them. So if you're not kind of in need of just like more and more units, you almost may as well just go for them.
Yeah, probably.
Oh no, the
He's gonna try
medevac.
dropping into the main base. This is a bad mistake. He's gonna lose a medevac as well. Yeah.
Oh, that series was just brutal.
He looks very upset as well on the camera. You see it?
Yeah, he's been like that all series, right? Maybe not so much
Yeah.
in game 1, but game 2 especially, he was looking super frustrated. Like I said, I think he's really like in his own head almost at this stage.
Game 1 he was still busy waking up Wardy.
Yeah,
now that
game
he's
1 he
there-
didn't realize he was playing. He's like, oh wait, that one counts. Oh, it's like okay.
Yeah.
Game 2 then.
Nah, it's pain. It's actual pain. Dark's gonna stay at a lower drone count, 73. He could have gone up to anything he would have pleased, but 74, 73 seems to be where he wants to be. Creating a bunch of links. Dark does this a lot, by the way, and I have no clue why he does it. He'll play this Roach Ravager Lurker style, get no upgrades for links, and then still go up to like 40, 50 links. He'll attempt a run by at some point, he'll lose all of them to the Marines, and then he'll replace it with Lurkers, and it will do absolutely nothing. This is a pattern that I spot in a lot of his games. I don't quite understand what the links are for.
Yeah, I don't really have an answer. Like, you're right, because I know what you mean when he like runs them by and they just kind of run into units. Like, oh, like well that's okay because it's gonna replace them. It's like, well, why not just keep the money for later in the game? Or make less of them.
Yeah.
Or
Make two more macro hatches in your main base. I mean,
Yeah.
less money better spent in my opinion. But yeah, like once again, I think he's now going to go up to like 52, 54 links or something like that. These guys have no upgrades. I assume he's not going to get adrenal glands either. That's a lot of supply that is in complete crap at this point. Maybe it's for a surround with lurkers. Or, I don't know. Nidus network going down as well.
I think he's
I think
just.
Clem is semi-stabilizing, by the way.
I think he is, but I think the thing is you're stabilizing against a Dark as he drops in. Against a Dark who's comfortable enough to get straight into the Nidus and stuff, right? And that means that Dark's right from the get-go going to have a lot of harassment options and just gives himself a lot of ways in which he can do very well in this game. And I think that's maybe the problem that Clem will have, that it's just going to be constantly from the beginning. Nidus is going up and all of that, so it's going to make this a very stressful game for him.
Yeah, but Blackburn isn't too difficult to defend, right? Like you got your bases set up, you build a couple of tanks, you sit, you have this one drop. Oh, big fungals here. We'll be denying the pickup. Nidus goes up in the main base. Is Clem gonna be in position? I don't think so.
Doesn't look like it at all. Now we're pushing out the front off the back of that fungal. We're gonna get Blind Cloud down. Dog doesn't really like it. There's a lot of tanks further back. Nidus does go up as we got Parasitic Bomb. Another fungal growth going down. The lurkers are on the production. And there's no ghosts out yet, right? So this is going to be brutal. I mean, you can get tanks to start clearing this out, but you've got to spend so much to deal with those lurkers, and you can just see what's happening. All of these tanks in the front are just getting taken down. I mean, he's actually going to kill a factory here in the end. He does clean up this position in the main base, but again, it's what Dark has been able to do elsewhere. I mean, he just completely sets up to clean out over here, and we'll see if he actually gets this orbital. He shouldn't. It should just be able to lift off, but he should be able to take out a position. Maybe Recourse with Bowser actually does go down, though. Yes, it does. A fungal to hold off the already hurting Bioarm. He feels like it's been stimming around everywhere, so never getting a chance to heal up, and yeah, it just feels like Dark is getting into a better and better spot.
Yeah. Painful game for Clem once again. He's rebuilding his third base right now. Will not be getting any extra orbitals yet. We have another Nidus going up in the main base. This time Marines are going to be in position. Dark continues pushing on forward. But he doesn't really need to. Leaves one lurker behind and says, I'm gonna go back home, defend. I have 80 workers. I'm on 5 base currently. Clem is on a mere 3 bases. Ghost production is starting. There's no money in the bank for 3-3. This has been a painful episode.
Yeah, this entire series has been a little bit sad, it feels like, as man, it's like you gotta lift up into these medevacs, which means that Dark can just run at your bases because you don't have anything on the ground anymore. It's all up in the skies, so you don't really have a good option. These couple of tanks are on their own, and yeah, Clem just types out GG. Gets, honestly, absolutely crushed. I said it before, but this almost didn't make me excited to watch Dark Clem in the future. It just feels as though this is not even a competition when it's meant to be some of the best TVZ out there. Now, you remember that
Yeah.
best of 7 in TSL, how good that was? This
Yeah,
was
I do remember
a
it.
long stretch from that.